It's been 1 week since this deadly stabbing, and while Houston police are still investigating, homicide detectives tell me that this all stemmed from an argument between the suspect and the victim about their cats. I'm also told the British nursing student would have graduated this weekend.
In the ends, loyalty's rare and betrayal bleeds. Stabbings, shootings, real stories, real pain. This is Ends Unshanked, where the silence breaks.
Elizabeth Tammy Odunsi was a 23-year-old British nursing student from London. She had moved to the US to complete her Bachelor of Science in Nursing at Texas Women's University. On social media, she was known as a Tammy Dollars on TikTok, where she posted study tips and vlogs about her life as a student in Houston. Tammy amassed tens of thousands of followers, reports range 30,000 to 45,000, by sharing her journey through nursing school. In the weeks before the attack, she was openly counting down to graduation. In her final TikTok video, posted just 5 days before her death, Tammy danced in excitement with on-screen text 23 years old, BSN grad in 2 weeks, vacations booked and more. She captioned it, "I'm ready." Friends and family remember Odunsi as a caring, ambitious young woman. A GoFundMe set up by her sister called Tammy, a beautiful soul full of light, ambition and kindness, noting that she moved to the US to pursue her dream of becoming a nurse, dedicating herself to a life of care and service. Just days before the tragedy, relatives in London had packed suitcases to fly to her graduation ceremony. Her father later told the British press that Tammy had always been focused on school, church and helping others, and that her death, inside what should have been a safe home, came as an unbelievable shock. Grant and Tammy had lived together for only about 2 months at the Goforth Street address.
It's a quiet Saturday at this apartment on Goforth Street on Houston's south side, but just a week earlier on the afternoon of April 26th, Houston police say it was a bloody murder scene. HPD finding a 23-year-old woman in one of the units lying on the kitchen floor with multiple stab wounds. Homicide detectives identifying her as Elizabeth Tammy Odunsi. Police say she was from England but was in nursing school here in Houston, set to graduate this weekend. Detectives telling me Odunsi's roommate, 40-year-old Chester Grant, stabbed her to death after the two got into an argument a few days earlier about the cats that they both kept in the unit. The conflict reportedly snowballed and led to the violent encounter.
Neighbors say that the flatmates' relationship had become strained. Houston police confirm they were called to the apartment complex multiple times in the weeks before the killing. Residents reported officers on site for a disturbance between the two on the afternoon of April 26th, just hours before Tammy was found dead. According to court testimony and police, the fatal confrontation began as an argument over Grant's pet cat. In the April 26th incident, Grant allegedly took a knife and stabbed Tammy repeatedly. Investigators say she suffered 28 stab wounds in total. In court filings, this was described as part of a brutal attack. After attacking Tammy, Grant turned the knife on himself. Detectives report that he inflicted 6 self-inflicted stab wounds, including one to his neck. Paramedics pronounced Tammy dead at the scene, and Grant was rushed to the hospital. In summary, officials believe that a personal dispute, reportedly about a pet cat, escalated tragically on April 26. HPD and court records pieced together a timeline in which a domestic quarrel culminated in violence. Witnesses say the roommates had argued earlier that afternoon. Police found Tammy's body and Grant wounded a short time later, and Grant has since been charged with her murder. The surviving evidence, police reports, court filings and social media posts paints a picture of a young student full of hope and a roommate dispute gone horribly wrong. Houston police say that on April 26, 2025, officers conducting a welfare check at an apartment on Goforth Street discovered 23-year-old British nursing student Elizabeth Tammy fatally stabbed on the kitchen floor. Odunsi, a Londoner studying at Texas Women's University and due to graduate days later, was pronounced dead at the scene. Her 40-year-old roommate Chester Grant was found in a bedroom with at least 1 stab wound and was transported to a hospital in critical condition. Investigators later identified Grant as the assailant. He was arrested on May 2, 2025 and booked into Harris County Jail. Houston's police news release confirms Grant was charged with Odunsi's murder. April 26th. Officers responded to a welfare check and found Odunsi with multiple stab wounds. Grant was also injured. May 2nd, Grant was arrested and charged with murder, first-degree felony murder. Court filings allege he stabbed Tammy 28 times during a dispute over their pet cat. A judge set Grant's bond at $500,000. He remains in custody at Harris County Jail and is scheduled to appear in the 176th District Court on May 7, 2025. Authorities report that at a probable cause hearing, a magistrate described the slaying as brutal, noting it was precipitated by a fight over Grant's cat. The Houston Police Department, HPD press release, states that detectives H. Martinez and S. Chetri conducted the investigation. According to police, Grant was identified as the primary suspect and arrested when he was able to be taken into custody. Grant has been formally indicted on a murder charge in the 176th District Court. Court records from May 3 indicate that prosecutors asked for a $750,000 bail, but the magistrate set it at $500,000. The defense, a public defender, had urged a much lower amount, but Grant remained detained. He did not appear at a brief May 5 hearing, so his next scheduled court date is Wednesday, May 7, 2025. According to Houston Chronicle reporting, the final plea or arraignment will be in 176th District Court on that date. Available records note that Grant has a criminal history out of state. At the probable cause hearing, it was revealed he had prior convictions in Washington for domestic violence. Aside from the murder charge, no additional charges have been announced. To date, there have been no public statements from Grant's attorneys. HPD has limited its public comments to factual press releases. A spokesperson told People magazine simply that Grant was responsible for Tammy's death, and no other official comments have been released.
We begin tonight with new details in the tragic stabbing death of a Houston nursing student. Police say the 23-year-old British woman was killed by her roommate last weekend. It happened inside an apartment on Gopher Street, that's near Cullen and Yellowstone Boulevard on Houston's south side. Our Orko Manna joins us from the Harris County Jail tonight with the latest from investigators. Orko?
It's been 1 week since this deadly stabbing, and while Houston police are still investigating, homicide detectives tell me that this all stemmed from an argument between the suspect and the victim about their cats. I'm also told the British nursing student would have graduated this weekend. It's a quiet Saturday at this apartment on Goforth Street on Houston's south side, but just a week earlier on the afternoon of April 26th, Houston police say it was a bloody murder scene. HPD finding a 23-year-old woman in one of the units lying on the kitchen floor with multiple stab wounds. Homicide detectives identifying her as Elizabeth Tamalor Odunsi. Police say she was from England but was in nursing school here in Houston, set to graduate this weekend. Detectives telling me Odunsi's roommate, 40-year-old Chester Grant, stabbed her to death after the two got into an argument a few days earlier about the cats that they both kept in the unit. The conflict reportedly snowballed and led to the violent encounter. I'm told the two were relatively new roommates for about 2 months. Detectives say Grant tried to take his own life, stabbing himself around 6 times, including in the side of the neck. After a few days in the hospital, Grant appeared in probable cause court Saturday morning, now charged with murder. Grant is being held here at the jail on a $500,000 bond. He's expected to be back in court on Monday. Meanwhile, Houston police are still looking for surveillance video and doing witness interviews as they continue their investigation.
Here's some nursing school advice that nobody asked for as a graduating nursing student. Okay, this is actually something I wish someone told me, but start researching where you want to work when you graduate. Nursing school is going to go so fast. Like, it's going to go so fast. You're going to blink and you're going to be graduating. And you need to know where you want to apply. And you need to know what they require and all that stuff. So start researching as soon as you can. Preferably not the last semester. Be nice to your professors, because you're going to need them, okay? Be nice, be someone's favorite. Because not going to lie, professors have favorites, they do. And you're going to need them for letter of recommendations, advice, all that stuff. So be nice to them. Okay, volunteer to do everything in clinicals, like everything and anything. Obviously to your scope, innit? But make sure you do everything. That's because you want to have like a good relationship with your nurse or your preceptor, or the nurse manager, or anyone. Like, you just want to make a good impression, because you never know, like, they might even just like tell you, hey, like, whenever you need a job, just apply, blah, blah. Like, you never know. So, and you also never know who your patient is. Like, you could be taking, I remember I had a patient who was a retired cardiothoracic surgeon, and he was like someone like up there, like, and he like complimented me. He was like, you're a great student nurse. I was like, thanks. But yeah, like, just make a good impression at clinical, because you just never know who's watching, you know? Also, like, try to be friends with the nursing students in the year above you, or the seniors, because they will give you like all their resources. They'll let you in on everything. So lastly, sleep is the best medicine.